Welcome to episode 70 of Broad Street Hustle, the ultimate destination for sports enthusiasts and betting aficionados. In each episode, now that it's the start of the football season, we're going to break down the Eagles every week, but we're also going to break down other games, share in-depth insights on teams, dynamics, player performance, game statistics, whether you're a seasoned bettor or just starting out. Our expert host will provide valuable tips, trends, predictions to help you make some informed decisions. And if this is your first season following us on Broad Street Hustle, you'll quickly understand which host you want to follow and which host you want to fade. Remember, it's not just a podcast. It's a playbook for success in the world of sports betting. This is episode 70 of Broad Street Hustle. A little intro to get
your 7-year-old write that for you?
That was actually a chat GPT, so it's probably the most intuitive and smartest algorithm that you could possibly have. Welcome. It's episode 70 of Broad Street Hustle. We got the NFL is finally back, so now you know what we're going to do every week, talk football. This week specifically, we're going to focus on the entire season. This is kind of our preview show. We're going to do a little draft, which we have been doing for all the sports. We're going to get into division winners. We're going to get into playoff teams, Super Bowl winners. We're going to get into teams you like, teams you're fading, some awards. The player awards is always a big one. Prop bets, over-unders on team wins, everything you could think of, NFL, we're going to talk about tonight. So let's get started. Let's go around the horn. I got Jason Sayeda with me. Jason.
Hey, Tom. What's going on?
Hello, Jason. And we're playing a little Where in the World is Jimmy the Chalk? Jimmy the Chalk, where are you tonight?
I'll give you a hint. I'm up to 4 wives now, and it's all legal, so figure that out.
A little Steve Young action for you.
The land of Mark Eaton.
Salt Lake? Nice.
And back by popular demand, Christopher Michael Meeker.
Good evening, everyone. How are you guys?
It's
been a while.
We tried to keep him away, but he's back.
We based on his shirt, we know what team he's going to be positive on this year. So probably 2 teams I'm thinking he's going to be positive on. One in the AFC, one in the NFC. All right, well, let's start it off. We'll get right into the draft. We did a little off-camera ping pong balls, and we got our order, which is myself as number 1, Jason number 2, Chalky as the 3rd pick, and Meeker as the 4th pick. We got 4 rounds, so we're each going to end up with 4 teams. Super Bowl winner. We did it with baseball. We did it with golf. I think they're the only ones have done it with so far. We'll probably do it with basketball as well. But let's just jumpstart. And I do got the dreaded first pick. I am not going to go KC, so this is maybe just a little prelude of where I'll be stronger. I'm going to go with the Bengals, Cincinnati, as my number 1 pick.
Okay. Well, I'm going to take my 49ers with the 2nd pick.
They drafted a quarterback this year?
They got one. We'll see.
Okay.
All right. Well, since my top pick is gone, I have to take Kansas City, I guess.
Meek, you got 2 here.
So I will be left with your Philadelphia Eagles.
And you got 1 more.
And I have 2, so I'm going to go Eagles. And I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens with my 5th pick.
Did they also draft a quarterback?
I'm going down the list.
They needed to.
They did not need to. Oh, okay. Jason, did you hear that?
Yeah, I just
the much maligned quarterback.
Way down my list to cross them off, but I found them.
Chalky, you're up.
I'll take Buffalo.
Jason.
Oh, boy. Well, I am going to take, because I don't know if they're going to get back to me, and I really do like them this year, I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right, and I'll roll around with the Jets and the Chargers.
Killed me. Would you have taken Jacksonville if I took the Chargers?
No, I was going Jets and Chargers.
Yeah, but I was going to take the Chargers.
Oh, then I would have probably taken
Well, you don't have to say it, but would you have taken Jacksonville?
Yes. Yep.
Okay,
I'm looking
so
at my
it doesn't
list.
matter.
Yes,
All right.
Jacksonville. It wouldn't have made a difference.
All right, I'm gonna take Miami.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
St.
Oh,
Louis Cardinals. Arizona
They
Cardinals
might-
are still out there.
they have a better shot than some of these. And I was, Chargers and Dolphins were the two I had on my list on the way back, and they are now gone. Anything else?
Do it, Chalky. Do it. You know who's?
Dallas.
Do it. Come on, take him off the board.
Dallas.
Do it. Oh no,
Dallas.
that's not who.
Yeah.
No. I'm not wasting a pick.
Oh,
Yet.
I would have wasted a pick
Ooh.
there. I would have wasted a pick. That's you, Meeker. You're up with 2.
Oh, dude, who did you take? Chalky, I didn't write it down.
Dallas.
Dallas. Okay. All right, we're gonna go with the Saints.
Ah,
And right. Oh man. There's like no one left. Let me go Detroit.
yeah, that's the next best. Chalky.
All right. Falcons. Vikings.
Did I hear Falcon?
They crossed my lips. Yes.
Yeah, drafting that running back first round was big.
Oh boy, this is a tough one. There's like nobody left at all. I mean, I'm gonna take. I don't like this team at all, but because the NFC is just so bad, I have to take Seattle. I
Yeah, that's
mean,
good.
Yeah, I don't like them all.
I don't.
But I
don't
would
like 'em,
agree.
but I mean,
Surprising.
I will run back with Pittsburgh, who I like this year. And hey, what the hell? I'll take Denver. I'll give Meeker his.
well, you want 5 picks? Because we're done.
Oh, did it? Is it? Oh, I wrote 4. 1, 2, 3. Yep, I wrote too many. All right, good, because I didn't really want them. All right, that's the draft. We'll evaluate our teams once we write them out. Always fun. We'll see who wins. We got baseball on the line still. So, all right, let's kick off this show here. That was the draft. How are we starting, guys? You want to roll through divisions? You want to just give some high overall notes on some teams you're high on, some teams you might be wanting to fade this year? How'd you
I would
know?
say-
I mean,
Go through
I
each
think
division.
we're kind of did that with the picks. Let's go to the divisions.
Yeah.
You want
that
to do
what-
divisions?
Yeah. All
I
right,
was going to say we throw out a couple teams that we're high on and we're not, and then divisions. But it doesn't matter. We could go right to divisions.
Yeah, I mean, some of what
Doesn't
we
matter.
picked gives it away, but like obviously got teams that were taken besides the small little
Yeah,
know.
that's fine. We'll go to divisions. then.
picks. But I mean, we could do the some teams we like and don't like. I mean, yeah, let's do that because we just did kind of a rollout list where we just kind of let's get some conversation going. So Jason, kick us off. Who are you thinking that? Who are some teams? I know you mentioned Jacksonville was the team that you're high on this year. How about the echelon of teams? Kansas City, Eagles, San Fran, Buffalo, Cincinnati. Well, you said San Fran, but what's your thoughts on that top tier group?
I mean, I honestly think there are only 2 teams that could win the NFC. There's 2 teams, and that's it. Like, I will be shocked if one of those 2 teams, the Eagles or San Francisco, does not win the NFC. So, I mean, that'll tell you my thoughts on the NFC. AFC, I'm high. I'm high on the Chargers. I really like them getting Kellen Moore, getting rid of that, Joe Lombardi clown as their coordinator. I think Moore is, basically going to run the offense and Staley will run the defense there. And Herbert, I'm really high on Herbert, so I really like the Chargers.
That
this
was
year.
the best offseason move was getting Chargers averaged, I think it was like the least amount of pass not yards, like pass yard attempt
in the air.
on first down in the air.
Yeah,
Which is insane. They ran more than
Yep.
they ran, and when they threw the ball, it was all short yardage. When you have Herbert
Behind the
as your-
line and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
I mean, so I think that
Just
move with
terrible.
Keelan Moore is the
Yeah.
biggest offseason acquisition that you can have. So I would totally agree with that.
I agree 100%. Miami, one of the teams I picked, man, they have the players on defense, and now they brought in Fangio, and he's not a good head coach, but he's one of those guys who's a really good, coordinator, and he's in charge of that defense now. I think that defense is really good. It's all going to depend on Tua staying healthy. I mean, I'm still not a huge fan of his, but you can't deny that their offense was pretty good when he was healthy. It's just, is he going to be healthy? Jacksonville, like I said, third year for Lawrence. Peterson, we know what he could do with young quarterbacks. The key for them, for me, is their defense. Their defense couldn't stop anybody last year, especially in the playoffs. So, they're one of those teams that had one side of the ball. If they could straighten the defense out this year, Lawrence in his third year, I think they're very live. Jets, like you had said, with Rodgers. I mean, there's another team that had one side of the ball. They had a great defense, no offense because they had no quarterback. Now they have one of the best ever. He's on a decline, but And I'll throw one more team out there. This is like a long shot team that's probably not going to make the playoffs, but I know a lot of people are down on Washington, but Sam Howell might not be a bad quarterback, and they'll have an easy schedule this year, so they might win more games than you would think.
Yeah, that one I can't agree with, but I think all the others I second everything you say. It's a kind of stole my notes. A quick note on Miami. Like when I look at Miami, I look at San Francisco, right? It's same lineage. The coach came from San Fran. It's like a quarterback who gets the job done isn't, a top quarterback, but now they may have a top tier defense with a creative offense, I should say, where it's a lot of motion. It's quick players and Tyreek Hill and some of the running backs, a comparable what I'm saying, quarterback. So I see the San Francisco 49ers when I look at Miami, and then you can't argue with the success of San Francisco over the last few years. So I would agree with that. Obviously, the Jets were a team I was big on, and we'll see as we do the divisions. I said the Chargers, and the NFC is a pile of garbage. Besides the Eagles, obviously San Fran. I honest to God, I don't know where else you would even go. I know Meeker's going to, say the Saints. But, like Dallas, I think is on the verge of maybe the Giants being better than them. Maybe, like Jason said, Washington. So I don't know how much I trust Dallas. So, yeah, I would agree. Minnesota might be the best in that division, but it ain't saying much because that division is another one that doesn't look like to be a powerhouse this year. So yeah, I couldn't agree. Two teams, I'll give you one from each conference that, and it's a little giveaway on the over-under win totals. I think the Rams are going to be a little bit better than people are expecting, obviously better than last year. I still believe in that coach. I just think that coach knows how to coach. And Pittsburgh is a team I'm high on. That coach has never had a losing season yet again in a year that looked like they had no chance. He goes 8-8 again. I don't know what that quarterback is as of yet, but I still think that Pittsburgh is going to be able to have a successful season and be back to being a playoff team at the very least. So that's one of my sleeper. Chalky, how about yourself?
Teams high on, as I gave away when I couldn't pick them, Miami and San Diego. Jason's already covered that.
San Diego.
They play in Los Angeles.
They are not winning the Super Bowl this year.
Come on,
John.
I put SD on my sheet, so I was channeling my inner JDR. But so the Chargers. We'll just go with that. And then in the NFC, I don't see any shocking or teams I'm high on, like you guys said. I do think the Central and South could possibly produce interesting winners, which we'll talk about when we get to the division. But the Eagles and the 49ers, barring injury, are by far the class of the conference.
Yeah, Meeker.
I second your Pittsburgh pick here. I think that they're a team that you might want to watch in the AFC. I think they've added some good pieces in the offseason. They drafted well. Pickett's in his second year. They say that, quarterbacks make a pretty nice little leap in year 2, but then they make the bigger leap in year 3. So obviously I'm not going to pick the Steelers to go too far, but I am going to pick them to make the playoffs. So I second that. In the NFC, well, of course, I mean, I do think that the Saints are going to have a much better year than they did last year. They're extremely deep on the defensive side of the ball. Their defense was good already last year. I think in the NFC, they're a top 3 or 4 defense. And then you bring in Derek Carr, a real quarterback. They're playing in a division that's, I wouldn't call it trash, but, it's really not a good division in the NFC South. So I kind of see them winning that division
That
pretty easily.
division is trash.
It's trash. I mean,
Yeah,
but Atlanta is a little bit better than trash. Let's call them that.
I don't know about that.
Did I hear Atlanta? You're down on Atlanta?
Yeah, I'm down on Atlanta. I mean, we'll talk about that when we get to the divisions. But
okay, so as long as you're down on Atlanta, I'm okay with that. Okay.
I'm high on the Ravens. I think they've added some, good offensive players in the offseason. And if this whole drama with Lamar is over with now and he's focused in playing, I think they're going to be a really tough team in the AFC. And as we talk about the divisions, we'll get to that and I'll expand more on it. And I just don't think Tua's going to finish the season. So I'm kind of down on Miami for that reason. I think if he could finish the season, played the whole year, even in a tough division, Miami's a, kind of a dark horse, but I just don't see it. I mean, I think the guy's obviously got problems with concussions, and football's a rough sport and you can't really control it. I mean, you can't give him any better equipment to wear on his head. So I think that could be the downfall of Miami this year. They're a good team. I just don't see him. Finishing the season. And I'm down on the Giants. And I know Daboll's a good coach, but I think they way overperformed last year. So I don't see them making the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I'll let you talk though on this, Maker. I don't know if you know it or not, or somebody else, but I'm curious with Denver, the Broncos. So your boys out there coaching. What do you think? How do they look? I mean, they were a team that was just atrocious last year. Does Peyton make that big of a difference, or they're just void of talent and they're not there yet?
Well, they lost one of their wide receivers for a good bit of the season, and that's not going to help. But yeah, I mean, obviously Sean Payton's probably one of the best offensive minds that we've seen, but I don't know that he can come in year 1 and fix it that fast. I think it might take a little while, but they're playing in a tough division too, and they're playing in a tough AFC. I don't think they make the leap from, as being as bad as they were last year to a contender, even though they were thought of as one last year. Bring in a, rock solid coach. Maybe, they're fringy when I would say like making the playoffs, but I don't see it in year 1. And I think this is this season that you have to look at Russell Wilson and Peyton, is a good evaluator of talent to say, is this guy done? Or, was it just they didn't have a game plan with Hackett last year, who was an awful coach, deserved to be fired, so we'll see. I mean, it's a we'll see year for me when it comes to Denver, and, Peyton's not going to have a lot of patience with it. So if Russell Wilson's not the guy, even though they're paying him $1 trillion, they'll move on from him if he thinks he can't fix him.
Yeah, I'll go through some of my readings today, some of the sexy teams that are attracting some bets throughout the country. So Detroit, Jason, what do you think on Detroit? I know a lot of people are high on them.
They're a team that had one side of the ball. I mean, their defense couldn't stop a car, going through a car wash. Like, their defense was awful. So, I mean, if they could turn their defense around, I don't know how much I believe in Goff, and I don't know how much I believe in Dan Campbell.
I would agree with that.
So I think they win that division by default. I don't think Minnesota is going to have as big of a drop as people think. I do think they're not going to win 11 or 12 games, whatever they won last year. They're not winning that.
Yeah, their over-under is only 8.5, though. So
that's
yeah. So I mean, I don't think Vegas believes that either.
I could see them winning 9 games.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. So it's not like
Yeah.
they're projected to blow.
Yeah. Because
Uh,
again, the NFC is just garbage.
Yeah, that's gonna and that division. I mean, Green Bay is gonna should take a pretty good step back. So I was gonna give chalky Chicago as a sexy team. That's another one that I've seen a lot of people big on. I guess Fields and seeing the success of Hurts and saying we can model after them, and they added some defensive depth at linebacker for sure. So is that a team that they're not going to win the Super Bowl, but is that
I mean, Chicago's my pick to win the division as far as placing a bet. Not to get too far ahead, but at plus 380, I thought there was some value there because I think there's upside for the offense. Moore comes over from Carolina, so Fields has the best weapon he's had in the time there. And they bulked up the line a little bit. And, no, this isn't the same Detroit Lions team that has, continuously underperformed, but it's just an organization that doesn't win. And that, I mean, for better or worse, for me, that always just sits there. So they have to prove to me before I'm just going to hand them the division. I mean, I don't have them in the playoffs right now because, Goff's got to give me 2 good seasons back to back in that situation. And they lost Williams for 6 games, I think, to start the year. So he's going to be down a receiver. And, the organization blew everybody's mind when they took that running back at 12 and then traded Swift. So, I mean, some of their personnel choices leave something to be desired. So I'm not big on them making the playoffs, let alone winning the division.
All right. And then before we jump into divisions, Mika, I'm going to give you another one, Cleveland. That's another team that a lot of people have been high on. I don't see it, but.
No, I don't see it either. Again, tough division. I got him finishing last in the division. Deshaun Watson, obviously, everyone's going to say he had to shake off the rust last year. That's the reason why they weren't good. But is Deshaun Watson that he was in his first few years, or is Deshaun Watson kind of in between what he was last year and what he was in his first couple years? And I don't know. I mean, I don't think they have great talent on offense. A couple of defensive players I know they picked up in the offseason to strengthen their defense. But again, playing in a really tough division in a really tough AFC. What's their under over 8, 8.5, 7.5?
That one I'd have to look up. I don't have it.
I don't
have handy.
9.5.
9.5. Well, that is, to me, that's kind of ridiculous. But I definitely would go under that. I would be fading Cleveland this year for sure.
I don't like Cleveland either.
I don't see it.
All right, let's jump into division. Before we jump in division, what is the worst division in football, Jason? I mean, it's nobody.
AFC South?
AFC South.
It's got to be AFC South.
Yeah, it's got to be the AFC South. They're just, I mean, they got 2 teams that are going to be vying for worst in football, right?
Probably.
I mean, what's your pick, Jason? Who's the worst team this year?
Oh, I mean, I think Arizona, hands down, it looks like they're tanking to me. I don't know if they're going to win a game.
How about you, Maker? Worst team?
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for Arizona maybe trying to lose on purpose, I might say Indianapolis. But I will agree, Arizona's the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah, I was there too. That I think Indianapolis is the worst team in the NFL, but the losing on purpose is trying. But Indianapolis has. Their quarterback's not even – he's been quarterback for a handful of games. He's now starting. In college, he was a quarterback for a handful of games. So I don't
understand that decision. I mean,
I think
is it better for them to throw him to the Wolves, or is it better for him to let Minshew play for a while?
I mean, I feel like a guy they believe in his raw talent but have to teach him more football isn't a guy you throw into the Wolves because it just creates bad habits, but – I guess
he's already got bad habits.
Yeah, but you don't want to put them in a game. You're not going to correct bad habits by playing real football. You're going to correct them in practice and watching and learning. But that's just Chalky. Who's your worst team?
I mean, Arizona is the layup, so I'll take them off the board, and I'll say Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is going to be really, really, really bad.
They're going to be bad. They're going to be bad. All right. Well, let's jump into divisions, and we'll go. I'll just go around who I'm looking at to start each division. so everybody gets a chance. And I have it on my sheet. I'm just going to follow it across. So AFC South, AFC East. Jason, you're up first. What's your order?
So I struggled with this one, and it's not for a team that you thought I'd be struggling for. I really think that the division will be won by either the Jets or the Dolphins, and I think Buffalo Bills will be third. So, I mean, if I have to give a pick, I'm going to go with the Jets. If I have to give a pick to win a division, I'm going to do Miami second and Buffalo third and New England fourth.
Well, I was going to go to Meeker next, but I'm going to take it since I actually see it the exact same way. I have the Jets win, Miami second, Buffalo third, and New England fourth. Buffalo is one of my big fades this year. I like it was plus 225 to miss the playoffs. I like that. Obviously, I like unders on their win total, so they were one of my bigger fades of the season. So I was the same order as Jason. Meeker?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree that the Jets are gonna win the division. I could see like most of the teams kind of just being bunched up with the same record, but maybe by virtue of a tiebreaker, the Jets win the division. I told you I'm not really high on Miami only because of the Tua situation, so I'm gonna have Buffalo finishing second, Miami third, and the Patriots. I think the Patriots are a really bad team too, by the way, and I think this could possibly be the last year we see Bill Belichick coaching that team.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that. All right, Chalky?
In order, Miami, Buffalo, Jets, New England. Like the last time a Hall of Fame quarterback got traded from Green Bay to New York, those Jets will start well and will fade by the end of the year and miss the playoffs.
All right. All right, that finishes off the East. Let's go to the West, and Meeker, you're up. AFC West.
AFC West. Okay, well, it's kind of a layup at who I think number one is, so we're going to stick with Kansas City. Chargers finishing second. I do not have the Chargers making the playoffs. Denver finishing third, and the Raiders in last.
If I recall, this was the division that on this show 1 year last year, you said all 4 teams may make the playoffs from this division. Is that not? Yeah.
He's
did not
a big Raiders fan.
Yeah, well, they lost their best player. That's on my team now.
Chalky?
Same order, although I have San Diego, I was going to say. I have the Chargers in the playoffs. The Chiefs, I was San Diego above the Chiefs last year. Chiefs obviously won. They might have gotten a little better, but so I'm optimistic, as you'll see later, that the Chargers with the bump with Kellen Moore will be much more productive. But I think KC takes the regular season title for the division, and Raiders might be in conversation for bottom 5 team in the league. And Denver, I don't buy that Wilson had a bad year and it was a fluke. I think, they had some injuries on the offensive line already and receiver, I think, like Meeker mentioned. And I think it's been pretty much confirmed by his comments that Denver was all in on Aaron Rodgers by bringing Hackett in. So when they couldn't get the trade, Wilson was the consolation prize, and they built the contract to get out after 2 or 3 years if possible. So they weren't super, super high on him to start with. And I don't see him turning it around enough to make the playoffs this year.
All right. So I actually have the Chargers winning that division. I have Kansas City in second, Denver followed by Vegas as the worst team. Jason?
Well, you have the exact same order as I do. So that's 2 straight divisions now. We have the exact same order. I thought I was going to shock the world by saying the Chargers are going to win the division, but you
shocked it
already
first.
said it. So you shocked it before me. So I truly believe that the Chargers are going to win that division.
All right. Knock out another one. Let's go to Chalky. You get the AFC North.
Cincinnati. Cincinnati to me would have been my first pick in any of the top 3 spots or first round had we had the draft. I drafted higher. I'm going to go Cincy, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland last. I don't think Watson's going to turn it around enough. So I believe that's the order of last year, but I think it repeats this year.
All right, so I'm going to be in front of Jason again, so hopefully I don't steal his thunder. I have Cincinnati obviously winning the division, as I was big on them. I have Pittsburgh second. I have Cleveland third, and I have Baltimore being last. I think that team is done. Dunzo. Harbaugh's done. They're going to regret signing Lamar. So I have them last. Jason?
All right, so we're a little different here.
Okay.
But I do have the Bengals winning the division, but I have Baltimore second. But I have Baltimore missing the playoffs. I do have Baltimore missing the playoffs. Pittsburgh third and Cleveland fourth. I do not. Yeah, I didn't give my teams that I am totally against this year, but they are one of the three.
Who was that? Well, it's Cleveland?
Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw the head nods as we talked about them earlier.
I am against.
All right, well, the best host gets the best division, the AFC South.
You're skipping me?
So
Wait,
You're skipping
Meeker,
me in
you
the
got-
north here?
no.
Meeker's probably picking Baltimore to win the division, so we need this comedy to.
Oh, I've missed you for the
Yeah.
whole. Yeah. Meeker, I'm sorry.
No,
I smell a comedic moment coming.
Nope.
Come on, Meeker.
You guys are missing. I look. I understand how much you guys, two of you, don't like the quarterback, and I don't think the coach had a very good year last year at all. I think he made a lot of bad decisions, but that's going to turn around this year, and I think Baltimore is winning the division. I think Cincinnati will come in second, and Pittsburgh I like. I definitely think that they're going to take a leap this year, even though they're going to finish third in the division. I think they're a playoff team. And Cleveland, I'm fading, as we talked about earlier.
Well, if it was the preseason, maybe, but
Yeah, right.
So
That's the craziest stat I've ever heard. They lost the other night, though, right?
Oh, did they lose?
Yeah, they
you
finally
knew
lost.
they were
Washington
they were
beat them.
a -1 in that game. You knew they were going to lose. Like it was crazy. When I remember seeing that spread, going, "Oh, that's a loss for them." All right, so I already gave my little shtick, but I got the AFC South. So the winner of the AFC South is easy, Jacksonville. It was trying to figure out the next three. That's going to be hard, and I ultimately had to go with Tennessee just by default, because I think Houston and Indy are going to be terrible. But I have Houston ahead of Indy. So Jacksonville, Tennessee, Houston, and Indy. Jason?
Yeah, so 3 out of the 4 divisions we have exactly the same. So
I remember
not to waste time, but the same.
said a little piece where you're going to understand what hosts you want to follow as the season and which ones you want to fade. I'm just going to leave it to the listeners to make those opinions as the season goes on. I think Jason has some of the stats from last year. He can run them back. Maybe.
Yeah, we'll go over
might
that
not be a
next
bad
week before
idea.
we start.
Okay.
Before we start.
Stats. Okay.
All right, well, let's finish off the AFC. We'll just keep rolling. Jason, who are your playoff teams? So we have your division winners. Run through them, and then who are the 3 wild cards?
What?
So
you skipped half of the panel this time.
Did I? Oh, well, you guys are all the
Not that
same.
it matters.
You guys
Doesn't
are all
matter.
the
Neither of the
same.
teams are. Neither team.
Does anybody have a different? Does anybody have a different?
I just got Houston. I have Houston in front of Tennessee. But that's about it. Houston, Tennessee.
Any
and then,
any particular
Indianapolis.
reason? Anything you want to speak about Houston?
No.
Chalky.
Not really. I mean, it's not
good
worth talking about.
analysis.
Chalky.
In order: Tennessee, Jacksonville, Houston, Indianapolis.
Tennessee winning the
Okay,
division.
so you gotta now speak. We need to hear this whack.
Well, all right. So this is partially like who would you bet versus who would you pick. I think the discrepancy. I think they're closer than the betting line has. So I think at plus 350, Titans are a better bet at that number.
Yeah,
than
I just need to hear why is the reason. That's,
Because
I get
don't-
what you,
I-
why.
They almost
that
won the division
30-year-old,
last year with injuries. I don't
running
know that
back?
Lawrence is going to take a big step forward, and I'm not high on Jacksonville overall. So it's almost defaulting into 9 wins, maybe wins the division, and they're playing for it at the end of the year.
So I'm
It's
not.
not a
regardless
strong pick, but
regardless
I'll take that
of
350.
Jacksonville. What does Tennessee have? That's what I need to know.
I'm not
30-year-old
it's
because
quarterback running
I
back.
don't know
I'm
if
not-
Tennessee
like I
wins
said,
the
I'm not
Catholic
strong
League.
on them, but Jacksonville to me isn't. I'm not seeing a lot of strength on Jacksonville either when I look at that.
Again,
I
I don't think Tennessee wins the Catholic League. I think Newman
right.
would probably give them a run for their money. So I'm just curious to see what Tennessee has. That's all. All right, hey,
I have a good running back.
they win in the
That's
NFL.
They got that
He's
going
old
for him.
with a lot of miles on him.
And running backs in the NFL traditionally are
They last a long
are
time.
on good
with
teams.
miles.
All right, so now I'm glad we went back to that. That was a good segment. Jason, playoffs. Who your four winners and your wild card?
Yeah, so obviously the Chiefs. And I do have Buffalo making the playoffs and Miami. So yeah. those
So
are my
you
three.
had your wild card teams were who? I'm sorry, Buffalo, Chiefs.
Chiefs, Bills, Dolphins.
Gotcha. Meeker, we have your division. So who is your wild card teams?
Bills, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh.
Okay. Chalky, wild card.
Buffalo, Jacksonville, Chargers.
Okay. Wait. So 9 wins is going to maybe win the AFC South, but then 8 wins is going to make them into the team who loses into the playoffs
Yeah.
in Jacksonville. Okay. I'm just
Take Jacksonville out and put
I'm just asking.
Baltimore
I'm
in.
just
I don't know.
asking. I just was getting clarification.
He's got to get back to his 4 wives.
I went to one of those Catholic leagues, so I need Catholic schools. So I need. So I have Kansas City, Pittsburgh, and Miami as my wild card teams. We want to just keep rolling. Who's going to? I mean, if you want to give an AFC matchup, and then who's going to ultimately play in the Super Bowl for the AFC, Jason?
Yeah, I struggled with this one. I definitely think Jacksonville, but it was between the Chargers and Bengals for me, and I took a shot in the Chargers. So Chargers, Jacksonville, I took as my AFC Championship game.
Okay. And for you, Meeker?
Well, you guys know how I'm high on Baltimore, so I'm going to have them in the AFC Championship. It is easy to take Kansas City. Look, the bottom line with this is anyone could take Kansas City. Anyone could take Kansas City, and I'm not going to
Nobody on this platform has taken them.
but it's all contrarian stuff,
Yeah,
you know.
but
In the end, if they're there, and it's not going to shock any of us. But I got Jacksonville in the AFC Championship. I think they're going to be the number 1 seed because they play in such a bad division. They may end up having the best record in the AFC, which would give them the bye, and you know that extra week is going to help them. It depends on who they run into, but I think they can make the AFC Championship and play Baltimore.
All right. And Chalky, do we see a battle of the AFC South in the championship game?
Yeah, Buffalo and Jacksonville. My championship game is Chargers and Bengals.
So I actually agree.
They're high on
I
the Chargers,
actually
huh?
have Chargers and Bengals in my championship game as well. And I clearly on my picks.
Let me ask you guys a question. So is this all about Kellen Moore that you're picking LA, or what did I not see
think,
last year about
yeah,
this
I
coach?
think their
Their head coach.
It's a
Yeah.
huge
I
part
think their
of it for me.
offense was held back by Lombardi. And they have one of the top quarterbacks in the league. They have he's on still on the rookie deal. They can build
The
around.
roster is loaded.
Did the Cowboys win a Super Bowl?
They had
did
Dak,
I forget?
They had Dak Prescott. not
okay, is he a
Justin.
bad quarterback?
Yes,
The
he's a
Cowboys'
bad-
offense
yes.
was
And
excellent.
their offense
They
was
were
actually
excellent,
good.
but
They had a Stunad as their head coach,
And
they
Dak
have
threw a lot
Dak
of late
Prescott.
interceptions that would cost
Yeah.
them games.
So wait, Meeker. So you want to compare Dak Prescott to
Herbert?
Herbert?
No, I'm not comparing him.
There's
I'm
no
just
comparison.
saying that Dallas didn't go
The
so
Chargers
far
were a
with his
team
offensive
on this-
coordinator. I mean,
Again, you want to compare
it's-
Justin
he's
Herbert
there's
to Dak
still
Prescott.
a head coach that's a Stunad. Talk about having a head coach that was a Stunad in Dallas. This
But,
coach is
but
probably
our
a bigger
whole
Stunad.
point of it is now
He's going to take
you're
a
gonna-
step
you're
back
gonna-
from the offense.
He's going to
All right.
coach the defense, and Kellen Moore is going to coach the offense.
Let's watch him play football. Okay.
Yeah, I could.
But you can't tell me that there's not like a humongous gap between Justin Herbert and Dak Prescott. There is.
Humongous
There
gap?
just is.
Humongous gap.
Humongous.
I don't know. Maybe
And-
you're too high on Herbert. I mean, I'm not saying he's bad. I mean, he's obviously a good quarterback, but I don't know. He makes some big mistakes too. I mean, and it has nothing to do with who was coaching him.
Okay. Well, I would take Justin Herbert over Dak Prescott 99,000 times in a row. There's not even a question in my mind that he's a much better quarterback than Dak Prescott. Much better.
Okay.
Just is.
I
Yeah,
think they
that's-
play in a tough division too. I think they play, three teams. Well, not two, not the Raiders, but two teams 4 times, and they're
They
tough
play
teams to beat.
one team 2 times.
Well, they play Kansas City twice.
Baltimore's
They-
in a tough division too. Baltimore's not in a tough
yeah,
division.
but I mean, who do they play? They play Kansas City twice. Who's the other tough team? Denver.
I
Vegas?
think Denver's a tough team defensively. That's what I'm saying. Like they were a good defense last year, Denver. And didn't Denver beat San Diego? Here you go. I'm chalky now. Didn't Denver beat them pretty badly? One Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football?
Yeah, but again, you're going back to last year when Joe Lombardi had maybe the worst record of any offensive coordinator. Like what he did with Justin Herbert,
Right, that was
is
the
a
whole
crime.
point. They handcuffed a
crime.
quarterback that should be airing the ball out.
He was airing the ball out. Maybe not as much as you would like, but I think he had close to like 4,700 yards last year.
Right,
I mean,
but
that's
that was
airing the ball out.
That was despite the handcuffs that they had on him. Like I said, his first down throws were always behind the line of scrimmage. They were less than 2.6 yards past the line of scrimmage.
I was
on
embarrassed.
first down.
He threw the ball more than any team in the NFL last year.
Yeah, but you're not listening.
Yeah, but
I'm
not
listening. They threw
not
the
on
ball
early,
more
but
than any team in the NFL last
not on
year.
early downs.
So it's not like they handcuffed him. He still threw the ball.
Not on early
lot.
downs.
Okay. All right.
We'll see.
I
don't know. I'm
All
just
right, we'll
not.
see.
I'm not sold on that. I'm
Would
not
you
sold
like
on
to
the
play
Chargers.
some kind of bet?
Sure.
Well,
Place
for
the bet.
amusement purposes only. This bullshit.
For amusement purposes only.
Yeah,
We'll
I
have to
might
figure-
get arrested before I leave the state. We're going to talk about really placing bets, but
Okay.
Especially where you
Okay.
are.
that's what I'm saying. State restrictions.
We could do a
Alright,
Chargers
You can have as
versus
many
Ravens
wives as
bet.
you want, but God forbid you place
Let's
a
move on.
sports bet.
Chargers versus Ravens. We'll do that.
We'll do that. That sounds good.
I like that. Our official head-to-head matchup will follow all
Yeah.
year. Chargers, Ravens. All right, so I ultimately had Cincinnati going to the Super Bowl out of the AFC. Jason,
I have Jacksonville going to the Super Bowl.
okay, Jacksonville. Meeker,
Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Going the
and
whole gamut here.
and hey, this is what you get on Broad Street Hustle. And Chalky.
Cincinnati.
All right. I have to change my pick. All right, let's move to the NFC. So we're going to start back with Jason, and we'll not go off of my paper because we'll save that division for last. But we'll go to the West, and that's a layout for Jason.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I have San Fran winning, and then Seattle second. I have the Rams third because, there's not a team that I wouldn't pick over Arizona fourth.
Yeah, they might
so.
They might get a did not finish in this year.
It's like they might win like one game this year, like if that.
All right, Mika, you get the West because that's what we're still on.
Yeah, same finish. Seattle making the playoffs too.
All right, Chalky.
San Francisco. I'll flip-flop Rams and Seahawks. Geno Smith had a career year at age 30, whatever. I'm going to say that doesn't happen again. So LA second, Seattle third, Arizona distant fourth.
All right. Now, although I was higher on the Rams, I still had Seattle finishing second because I do still think Pete Carroll's got a coach that gets more out of his teams than they really should. So San Fran, Seattle, Rams, and Arizona. All right, let's move to the North. And Meeker, you get to go first.
The sexy Detroit Lions pick for winning the division, I'm fading that, and I'm going to take Minnesota to win the division. However, I do have Detroit in the playoffs, finishing second, with the Bears third and the Packers last.
Okay. Chalky.
Well, as I said earlier, I'm going to put the Bears on top. I'll have Minnesota second, Lions third, Green Bay fourth.
All right. I had it the same as Meeker. Minnesota winning that division. Detroit second, the Bears third, and Green Bay last. Jason?
I have the Lions winning the division. I still think they'll be better than Minnesota this year. And I do have Minnesota second, and then Bears and Green Bay.
All right. So we all agree Green Bay is going to be trash. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Chalky, you get the NFC South this time around.
So I'm going with the Falcons on top. Quarterback is a question, but they're the only team that has a quarterback that's actually played for that team in that division right now. All 4 games of Desmond Rattler or whatever. So for me, it's Falcons, Saints, Panthers, and very far back, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for fourth.
All right. It pains me pains me to say it, but I have the Saints winning this division. I struggled a little bit with second and third. I ultimately went with Atlanta, but I do think Carolina has a shot to be close to them. Probably next year is the year Carolina is going to see their big improvement. But I do think they may be a decent team, considering because that the conference is bad. But yeah, I was New Orleans, Atlanta, Carolina, and Tampa. Jason?
Yeah, the Saints have the easiest schedule in the league, and I just think, I just don't like the teams in this division. I do have Carolina second in the division. I think they have an okay roster. I know they have the rookie quarterback, and he's going to struggle. But I'm not. I hear all this love for Atlanta, and I just don't get it. I mean, that quarterback is bad.
Oh, I thought. See, I'm sorry when Meeker said he was low on Atlanta, and you said you were making sure he was low on it. You were actually being serious.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought you were happy that Meeker would. You were being opposite of Meeker.
I don't see.
Okay.
I don't see when you have a quarterback who's a huge question.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I had Carolina and Atlanta like neck and neck for second and third. So I would totally.
I don't see it.
And drafting a running back in the top, their top pick was just nonsense.
I don't see the love for Atlanta at all. And then I have Tampa Bay is just atrocious.
Tampa's
that's
bad. Yeah.
They're one of those bottom. I mean, there's so many bottom teams this year. It's going to be hard to put bets together this year because, there's 5 or 6
It's going to be – I could see it being one of those
dreadful
teams where, Cincinnati's playing a bad team and they're laying 13 and everybody's on Cincinnati, 85%, and you're just like, oh, I can't go with the public. I can't – and then Cincinnati wins by 40. Yeah.
Yeah.
They just can't make lines big enough this year on some of these games. So
It's true.
All right, let's do we get Meeker? No, we didn't get Meeker. Oh yeah, Meeker. Where are you at?
Well, of course. The Saints are going to win the division. I mean, and Jason pulled, the card that I was going to pull. I mean, their schedule is kind of, I wouldn't say easy, but it's certainly a better it's a good one. Let's put it that way. It's a favorable schedule. Atlanta,
I think
if there's
Jason
a bet
was
that you
saying
can
they
make,
have the easiest schedule based on actual statistics.
Yeah.
Numbers, not opinion.
Well, it's easy. You can say easy because
they have depth pretty much everywhere,
the easiest schedule.
And I think that really it's just going to come down to health, and staying healthy to win that division. Thomas, if he's going to be healthy, Derek Carr, staying healthy, that kind of thing. I mean, some of their defensive players like Lattimore, who's traditionally hurt a lot, staying healthy, they'll win the division pretty easily. But if there's a bet I can make, is there a bet that you can make where the team has more yards rushing than passing? Because if that's a bet, that's the bet you want to take with Atlanta. Because I don't know, with this quarterback, if they're going to throw for more than 2,500 yards, but they could possibly run for 2,500 yards between the running back core that they have. So if that's a bet, I would take that. I have Carolina third and Tampa Bay fourth.
All right.
So maybe this can be a side wager. We can figure it out. If you were to lay passing yards, Derek Carr versus Rattler, what would you?
Ritter.
Whatever. The Riddler, Rattler.
What's the plus or minus? I'll give you almost 1,000.
I need more than that. Come on now.
1,000.
The guy's going to have less passing yards than rushing yards. You give me 1,000 yards? Forget it. All right.
There's a chance that Ritter is not the quarterback. Yeah. I mean, he's that bad.
We're just talking about Derek Carr's yards versus Ritter, right? Just on the passing yards. I'll give you 1,000.
I'm going to need more than that.
12?
We can go to next division.
1,200.
We'll come back next week.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but is Heineke their backup now? Does anybody know that for sure? I'm pretty sure.
Atlanta, I believe so. Yes.
Okay, he might be the quarterback. I got news for you. I mean, he's not great, but this Ritter is bad. So I don't be surprised if Taylor Heineke's the quarterback.
All right.
The winningest QB in the division right now.
Oh, we spent too much time on the NFC South here. All right, let's go to the East. Let's save the best for last. The East. So obviously the Eagles winning that division. I struggled again with the teams behind them. Ultimately, I went with Dallas, but I am not sold on that at all. However, it's Dallas. The NFC is bad, and Dak is not terrible. I mean, he's not better than Herbert or close to Herbert. The Giants probably far exceeded what they did last year. I think their over-under was the 7.5, which is another one Vegas does not see as a team that's going to be very good. And then Washington fourth. I know Jason was a little high. I don't see Washington. They got the new ownership. I don't know. I could see them being a little bit of a mess. So Philly, Dallas, Giants, Washington. Jason?
I have the Eagles, Dallas, Washington. Like I had said, and I just don't believe in. I don't like Daniel Jones at all. I just don't like him.
Yeah, but to me,
coach.
that's a coach that he just is going to continue to get more out of him. That's the only reason. But no,
I don't know. I think they overachieved last year, like Meeker said. I think Washington. If this Hal could play, if he can't play, then obviously they're going to be really bad. But he looks like he's showing signs that he's not awful. So I'm going to believe in him, and I'm going to say that they could get third. I think Dallas is a regular season team. That's a team that they're going to win 10, 11 games. They just are because, But then when push comes to shove in the playoffs and you have Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy, you're going to lose. So
McCarthy's back calling the plays, too.
Oh, it's when you have a coach and quarterback like that, you have no chance. You just have no chance. In the regular season, when you're playing these garbage teams, they're going to win games. So,
all right, Meeker.
Yeah, I have no change from your picks. I know you have Jason got Washington in front of the Giants. I have the Giants in front of Washington. The Eagles probably winning the division by 3 games or so in the end, but
I don't see that. I don't think it'll be that big of a discrepancy.
Washington could possibly have the same record as the Giants, but maybe by virtue of tiebreakers, the Giants are ahead of them. But I don't think either of those teams are making the playoffs. So,
yeah. All right, Chalky, bring us home.
I'm the same as Jason as far as order. As an Eagles fan, I'm thrilled that Mike McCarthy is calling plays again this year, and but I think there's just too much talent on that team that if they stay relatively healthy, they're not going to win a bunch of regular season games. Like Jason said, Dak may not be a top 5 quarterback in the league, but he's very arguably a top 3 in the NFC because there's not a lot of great quarterbacks in the NFC. So I think that's enough to get second for the division.
All right. Let's Chalky, I'll let you go first here. Who were your 3 wildcard teams?
So following up on what I just said, Dallas can easily get 10 regular season wins, get in there. I do have the Saints as a wild card and the Vikings.
All right. Meeker, wild card teams for you.
We're Dallas, Detroit, and Seattle.
Okay. Jason?
Dallas, Seattle, and by default, Minnesota. I mean, I don't know who else.
Yeah, we're kind of all in the same boat. Obviously, I had Minnesota winning division, so I'm Detroit as the wild card team, Seattle, by default, and Dallas. Maybe the Rams sneak in with it being in the NFC, easy schedule. I don't know, but I did have Dallas as well. So Seattle, Detroit, nothing clever there. Chalky, your NFC matchup. Do we see a rematch?
It is a rematch, but this time on the West Coast. Eagles will be at San Francisco.
Jason?
Eagles and San Fran. There's no other team that could possibly get in there unless there's major injuries to the Eagles or San Fran. I mean, I just don't see who else is getting in there.
Chalky?
You did Chalky.
I mean, not Chalky. What's the other guy's name? Meeker.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to be a contrarian here. We're just going to stick with the same theme here of San Fran Eagles, but I think the Eagles will be home for that game.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess Eagles and San Fran. I'm not that. I don't know. San Fran just has such a loser mentality. I just don't like how they handled the whole loss to the Eagles, from coach to fans to players. So I I'm not as big on San Fran, but Jesus, whew, I just don't know who else can get there. Saints? No.
Dallas.
I don't. I mean, I guess it'll come down to matchups in the playoffs and stuff. So I'll just be Eagles and San Fran just for argument's sake. But I am not convinced there. All right, Chalky, who's going to the Super Bowl in the NFC? Who are they playing? Just remind us, and who ultimately wins the Super Bowl.
So they will play Cincinnati, but I would play the exacta with either Cincinnati or the Chargers. I'm going with San Francisco, and that's not because I'm trying to reverse jinx the Eagles. For reasons you talked about when we were going over their over-under, Eagles are I can't see them being completely healthy, and I think it'll be enough for San Francisco to turn the tables. But I'm not super high on San Francisco for the same reason you just said. It's just there's a lot of loser energy coming out of that playoff game, and it's like the excuses, but there is nobody else in the NFC. And the Super Bowl hangover is a real thing, and I think the odds are against the Eagles getting back, so that makes it San Francisco by default.
All right. Meeker?
Well, I mean, when you look at the quarterback matchup in a game like that, I mean, I'm 100% going Jalen Hurts over Brock Purdy. And no, I just think the Eagles are the best team in the NFC. I mean, the roster is better. I know that they got lucky last year with a lack of injuries. And I mean, you can talk about injuries all day. It can happen to anybody. Any team is going to have injuries, but the depth of the roster, I think the Eagles have the slight edge there too. I'm going to pick the Eagles to win in that championship game at home.
And then who was your? I'm sorry, Chalky. Who was your Super Bowl winner? Was it San Fran or was it the AFC?
No, I would bet both of I would bet Bengals and also Chargers. So.
And Meeker, but you had that powerhouse of Baltimore playing the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Who ultimately wins that? You might see 15 interceptions in that game.
I'm sure everyone would be happy to hear the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl this year.
All right.
Just like the Rams last year, right? Didn't you pick the Rams to win back-to-back? Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. I didn't pick the Rams.
Yes,
you had Buffalo. It was Buffalo Rams, but I think you had Buffalo winning.
I had the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I had the Rams.
That was a great pick, too.
Jason, who is your NFC?
San Fran 49ers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I honestly did struggle with this one. Like, I it's a toss-up to me. I'm going to go with San Francisco, but Jacksonville could win. They could win that. But I mean, you're making me make a pick, so I'm going to take San Fran.
All right. And I was Cincinnati versus the Eagles, and I do think the Eagles start a dynasty, but it's a Buffalo Bills dynasty as they lose their second Super Bowl, and Cincinnati wins the Super Bowl over the Eagles. So not what the Broad Street Hustle fans would like to hear, but I got the Bengals over the Eagles. All right. We're almost at the hour mark, so let's just run through some of these end-of-season stats, and then let's run through some quick awards, and if anybody has a prop or over-unders you want to share to finish us off. So we're going to go with some stats first. We're going to make this a lightning round. You can obviously add a little convo, but try to keep it short as we're short on time. Quarterback, passing yards. Jason, who do you got?
I have two players, Justin Herbert, who's plus 650, and Trevor Lawrence, who's plus 1,000.
Meeker, who do you got?
I have Allen with Josh Allen win for pass yards, but I like the bet of Kirk Cousins at plus 1,000.
Okay, Chalky.
Herbert or Burrow.
All right, and I was Herbert at plus 650 as well. TDs, we'll go back down. Chalky, passing TDs.
Burrow.
Meeker, passing TDs.
I think Mahomes will have the passing TDs, but I like the bet of Dak Prescott at plus 1,600.
Jason, where are you at?
So Herbert's 11-1. Lawrence is 30-1, and Brock Purdy was 40-1. So those are my three.
Yeah, I mean, I just went with who I actually thought. I wasn't necessarily going for value as much. So I had Burrow. He was plus 450. That's who I got as passing yards. We'll go rushing yards. I think might know where you're going, Meeker. Who do you got for rushing yards?
No, I think it's a good value pick for Saquon at plus 1,500, and I actually think he might get that. Just actually lead the league in rushing yards. So I'm going to stick with the value bet and my actual pick, and that would be Saquon at 1,500.
How about you, Jason?
I didn't like this category because I really think that the Browns running back, and I unfortunately forget his name right now,
Chubb.
is going to win. Yeah. Chubb. But I took a shot with Pollard at 16-1 for Dallas, but I don't really like that bet. I think Chubb's going to win.
Yep. For yards, I actually have a bounce back season. I went with what is he? Najee, whatever his name, Harris for Pittsburgh.
Najee Harris.
Najee. So 25-1. That's pretty good value there. Chalky.
Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, that's where I thought actually Meeker was going to go. How about TDs? I was Chubb there, so he was plus 850. Second choice, I think. Jason, were you Chubb there as well? Or
no, I like Eckler for the Chargers. I think he's got great value at 14-1.
He catches passes. I know. I thought Herbert was going to throw a lot there, so that's what threw me off. But he does catch them as well. Meeker.
Yeah, they tend to give him the ball, close to the goal line. So I have Eckler for rush TDs, but I do like the value bet of Harris at 2,000 for rush TDs as well.
All right, Chalky.
Jalen Hurts 13-1.
Okay, Hurts going back to the well. Wide receiver receiving yards. Meeker, we have not started with you. Where you at?
I'm at Tyreek Hill at plus 900, and I think it's a good value too at 900, and I'm also picking him for rush receiving yards.
Jason.
I got two guys, Garrett Wilson for the Jets at 18-1, and St. Brown for Detroit. I thought that was a pretty decent long shot at 35-1.
Chalky.
Tyreek Hill.
All right, and I'm going back to Cooper Kupp. I think he has a big year this year, so I went with Kupp at plus 800. TDs, I'll go with Chase. I think Burrow throws him, and I think Chase is going to catch him. So I got Chase at 4-1. Jason.
Same two guys. Wilson at 22-1 and St. Brown at 45-1.
Chalky.
Burrow was my TD passing, so Chase the chalk is my receiving touchdown.
Or the same. That's all I had for the statistics. Anybody else want to add something else if they had?
Let me give you my TDs.
I got a good one.
We skipped me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Mickey. Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. Kelsey for the receiving TDs. I think he's kind of chalky bet, but I think the long shot bet I have here is McLaurin, and he's at 5,000.
Did he get hurt, or is he playing? He's going to be back.
He might miss the first game or two.
Okay. All right, Jason. You said you had some kind of statistical category you want to add.
Quarterback interceptions.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes, and I have three lovely picks here. Lamar Jackson, 30-1, because he said he wants to throw for 6,000 yards this year. And I'm sure some of those yards are going to be coming back the other way on him. Mr. Richardson, if he's going to play a whole year for the Colts,
the only reason against him would be that they might just handcuff him and just not let him throw as much.
Yeah. Maybe.
I mean, Tyler's out the first four for sure, being on the PUP list. Yeah. But that would be my only thing with him.
Listen, I remember Troy Aikman playing his rookie year and throwing.
Peyton Manning.
How many years?
Peyton
Manning through 30, right? And then Mr. Watson is my last pick at 15-1 to throw the most interceptions.
All right. Did any of you guys have a particular statistical category we didn't talk about that you saw value or went to play?
With INTs, I mean, I think he's going to have a good year, but he does throw a decent amount of INTs, and that's Trevor Lawrence, who's 40-1. I think Jacksonville is a good team, but he just might lead the league in interceptions and still have a good year.
I got to disagree there only because that's the type of player that you're projecting the team to be better. It's because the quarterback he has thrown interceptions in the past, but he's going to take a step forward, and you're going to see a reduction in the INTs and an improvement in the touchdowns is the only reason.
I don't think he'll actually lead the league. I just think it's a value bet at 4,000 because it's your 40-1 is.
Yeah, I
pretty
just
good
think
value.
if he's up in the league lead in interceptions, Jacksonville's not going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
only 2 cents there. Chalky, did you have anything, or I didn't have anything?
Yeah, I have a selection in the most regular season tackles and assists category. N'Kobe Dean, 65-1.
Okay. What is I'm sorry. I feel like the FCC and maybe the FDEA have to step in. In Utah, drugs are legal or illegal? I'm just asking. I just don't know, so I'm asking.
Hold on, like
I'm not
every
just
single
asking.
time we've gone, you've skipped some. Did you get in your wife's medicine cabinet tonight again?
I'm
Because
just
you're
asking.
forgetting half of the panel on some of these questions.
I
I don't know
felt
what's
like I
going on.
had. I felt like
It doesn't have the balloons in the background
took a
anymore.
lot of-
Something's wrong.
No,
Did
let's
some
just
balloons,
say, let's just
before
say
the show.
I took a
Utah-
lot of training on mental health, and when you see a coworker,
Utah is not a very
changing
liberal
a
state when it comes to
coworker,
things like
you have the
gambling,
responsibility
drugs,
to bring it up to
or
the appropriate people.
adult entertainment. So,
All right, let's go through these awards, and then we'll finish with some thoughts on if you had any cool props or over-unders. All right, let's start. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jason.
I love the running back for the Lions getting that because I think he's going to get a lot of balls thrown to him. He's fast. Well, I thought it was a kind of a reach of a draft pick. They did get rid of all their other running backs. So, although they brought in Robinson, I think
Montgomery.
another running back. Montgomery. I'm sorry.
Montgomery,
yeah,
like as in Ty Montgomery, or which?
As
no,
in
the
whoever was
Bears.
on the Bears last year.
Oh, okay. That other one.
David Montgomery.
David, yeah.
But I still felt 10-1 because those quarterbacks are just going to be bad. I don't know. I just see them throwing a lot of interceptions and all. So
All right, I'm going to step in because I think it's going to be I think Bijan's going to be the offensive. I think they're going to pass to him. I think they're going to run to him. I don't think Atlanta's going to be very good, but I think he's going to have a very, very good season. Meeker?
Yeah, I'm not trying to reach. I'm going with you on that, just for the same reasons you just said. They're not. I mean, he's going to be a very big part of their offense, and he's going to accumulate a lot of stats, and that's the reason why. I mean, we have 3 rookie quarterbacks we could choose from, but I'm not going the quarterback route here. I'm going Bijan.
All right, Chalky?
I mean, I got Bijan in Atlanta, so he makes sense. But if you want to take a longer shot, Zay Flowers, 18-1.
Okay. Meeker, Defensive Rookie of the Year.
I'm going to go Will Anderson, but I think the value bet here is Van Ness, and he's at 1,500. So if you want to take the value bet and kind of hedge it with Anderson, I think Anderson, they usually give this stat to pass rushers. Although Sauce Gardner won last year, but pass rushers are usually the way to go. And if Anderson gets double-digit sacks, which is a good possibility, I think he'll win it.
Chalky?
I'm going to go with Gonzalez on New England. I don't think New England's going to be particularly good, but he dropped a little bit. And Belichick grabbed him. I think he'll find a way to make him look good this year. So that's plus 950 on him.
Yeah, Belichick's the guy to get that done. Jason?
I'm gonna go with Carter for the Eagles at 7-1, I think, or 750. I think he was. I mean, if he's as good as he looks, he could just be a monster.
Yeah, Carter. The only reason I didn't, he was on my radar, obviously, but I was looking at defensive tackle rookies, like high draft picks, and they just don't get many sacks. In their rookie season, it's hard to get sacks. But out with the outlier of Aaron Donald, who had 9.5 in his rookie season. So, and I just think voters look at sacks, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I actually went with Nolan Smith. I think he might get sacks coming off the edge for the Eagles in that rotation of defensive ends. And it was strictly because I think he's going to get some sacks, and he was 22-1. So Nolan Smith. All right, let's go to let's go to comeback player of the year. I think this one's a joke, but
I don't.
It's got to be him.
It's got to be.
If he plays one snap.
One snap.
He's get one snap, he wins.
That's what I thought too. So
I don't even know what. I looked at that. I looked at DraftKings list of comeback player of the year, and they have guys on there that aren't really coming back from anything. Like, what are they coming back from?
That doesn't matter. Geno Smith won for finally being good.
Yeah,
He
that
was
was a
never good
joke.
before last year. He didn't.
I
Come
mean,
back from any
Saquon
good.
was like one of the heavy favorites last year. He played 11 of the 16 games or something the year before.
It doesn't
So
make
it's-
sense.
Yeah, I'm not. I just think it's just.
I'm actually surprised he's only minus 285. At
Yes,
this point.
that's what I was gonna say.
Well, now
I
I'm starting
got
to
him.
double. I was starting to think about but
I actually
he'll
got him
get it
at
if he
plus
plays one
money.
play.
Like
Who?
that-
I want
Hamlin?
to say like 4 months ago, he was like plus one something. I was like, oh, he's winning.
Yeah, I mean, if
He's
you bet him
plus
before he was like, "Yeah, I expect to play," then you would have got some value for
They
sure.
put-
But it's going to take one play.
If they put some
I mean, Alex Smith
sort
got
of
comeback player of the
designation
year,
on it,
and he played like 2 games that year, right?
It's Hamlin.
it should be. There should be a
If
designation
Hamlin doesn't get
that
hurt
guys
this week,
played 4 games last year or less.
Yeah, I think there is no parameters, and that's what makes it. I'm not. I think it's the worst award, and it could actually be a good award. Like it could mean something. You know, a guy actually. comes
yeah,
back
I just
from
got
something.
turned off when Barkley didn't win last year because Barkley was hurt though.
He played like
the year
11,
before.
16 games the year before.
I thought he was hurt. I thought he
he
didn't
did.
play
He
that
was
much,
hurt, but he did play.
Yeah, he got hurt
That's
later
what
in
I'm
the
saying.
season.
Like it
yeah.
doesn't make sense. Like if Russell Wilson has a great year, is he the comeback player of the year? He played every
Well, that
game
would be the
last year.
Geno Smith version because he
Yeah.
stunk and he finally did
Yeah.
good.
But he was a Super Bowl winning quarterback, so you could say, well, he's back to where he was, or Geno Smith was never anything.
Right.
like
Right.
that,
I gotcha. Yeah, I don't know.
you know.
All right.
I mean, if Hamlin gets hit by a car, Cooper Kupp at 35-1 before the season starts.
See, that would be a good pick. That would make sense. Something like that.
All right, let's go to the big category MVP this year. Jason, who is the MVP of the National Football League?
I have 4 guys, and one's chalk, 2 are medium, and then one's a big long shot. Herbert is my chalk at 12-1. I just think he's going to have a humongous year this year. Lawrence at 15-1, and Aaron Rodgers, 16-1 if the Jets win.
So
the
could he
division.
get a comeback player? Would he be eligible for comeback player of the year?
Yeah, I guess. And then my long shot is my boy Brock Purdy, 50-1. If he has a big year, 50-1.
All right. Despite the gap really not being very large between Dak Prescott and this particular player, I do have Herbert as the MVP of the season at 12-1. Meeker?
Well, I mean, for a value, it's not. I guess it's a value. I mean, I have Lawrence at 15-1 for my value. I mean, if I'm going to pick who I think is going to win MVP, I just think it's going to go back to Patrick Mahomes. But in the end, if I'm going to bet, I'm going to take Lawrence at 15.
All right. Chalky, where you at?
Burrow at 7.5. Herbert, like everybody else, and the longer shot on San Francisco. If you want a chance to win, you should take Christian McCaffrey at 80-1.
All right. Where we at? Oh, let's go to the guy who's the best offensive player who probably should have won MVP, but for whatever reason didn't win MVP because he's probably a wide receiver and they don't give wide receivers MVP. Offensive player of the year, Meeker.
I'm going Tyreek Hill at 20-1 as my offensive player of the year, and I think a good shot again with going back to who I think is going to lead the league in rushing yards is Saquon Barkley at 4,500.
And Chalky.
Unfortunately, my selection is Tyreek Hill at 20-1.
I do think 21 is pretty good value on it. I thought that was
No,
that was a
absolutely.
little high
I joked,
for him.
because Meeker took him first. But
No, I
look at his
know.
numbers when
I would
played
love,
last year.
I would love to bash you guys. You know that.
I'm
yeah, I mean,
going to bash Meeker a little bit.
Oh,
'cause
go ahead.
Meeker doesn't
We're
think Tua is going to play a whole year, but yet he thinks Tyreek Hill is going to win Offensive Player of the Year. So how's that going to happen?
Rebuttal?
Just going to throw the ball to him. He could still run 70 yards after catching it 1 yard. Can he not?
Jason, rebuttal?
I'm not saying he's going to go out in the first
White.
week. I'm just saying he's not going to finish the year. I think he's going to get hurt somewhere along the line, and it's going to hurt them. But I still think Hill's going to have a big year no matter what.
Okay.
All right, and I'm going to my boy Cooper Kupp, 30-1. Think it's a big year for him. So Cooper, I got everybody right. Good.
No.
Oh, damn it, Jason.
Doesn't matter.
I'm gonna give 5 guys.
Brock Purdy.
Debo,
12 guys.
Debo, 40-1. Chalky, McCaffrey. They just don't give running backs the MVP. But
yeah.
McCaffrey could certainly get Offensive Player of the Year, 15-1. My boy St. Brown, 35-1. Garrett Wilson, 30-1. And Eckler. Eckler is 50-1. I think that's insane. I just think that's insane.
He doesn't. I don't think he rushes enough.
Yeah, he
like,
doesn't.
He gets some touchdowns.
Like
and everything,
he'll
but-
get
Gets
touchdowns, but his
touchdowns.
yards are going to be low on the lower side. Yeah.
50-1. I'll take a shot.
But my McCaffrey pick is like gets like 12 rushing and 12 receiving touchdowns, and it just adds up to be that's where he might have a chance.
Who was the last non-quarterback? I don't know the answer, and I don't know if you guys do. Who was the last?
I think we did this.
non-quarterback?
We did this last year, and I don't. You'd have to look it up.
Didn't
Yeah,
Derrick Henry
I
win
should-
Offensive Player of the Year?
No, MVP. You're talking about MVP, right, Jason?
MVP.
Oh,
He
yeah,
was the
yeah,
last
yeah.
non-quarterback.
It's been
MVP.
a while. Yeah. I mean, at 80-1, I'm throwing him out there. He's not likely, but it's 80.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, and I shouldn't ask the question if I don't know the answer, because then we look like we don't know. We don't know. But
I think we crossed that Rubicon a long
Yeah.
time ago. Let's see.
I got
up
it.
now.
I got
Chalky's
it.
good with doing
LaDainian
research.
Tomlinson,
On-
2006.
That
That's
would
the
be
last
that
one.
long.
That would be incorrect.
Oh, Adrian Peterson, 2012.
Adrian
Yeah, that
Peterson
sounds
in
right.
2012. Yes,
Well,
That
I mean,
sounds
it's
right.
not like crazy. It's
That's
only,
still 10 years.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
he ran for 2,000 yards that year. So
Well, you have to have that kind of crazy year. You have to have.
that's
break
I'm
record
saying
or-
he'll rush, and then like Purdy will use him as an outlet, and he's gonna have 24, 25 touchdowns.
Yeah, I
That's-
mean, if
that's 80 to
anybody
1, I'll
else,
take a shot.
if anybody does, he's a good pick.
Well,
if anybody, but
what's
non-quarterback does.
what's actually I got two crazy people who won. Lawrence Taylor, 86 for
Yeah, that'll never happen again.
a kicker in 1982 won
Mark
the MVP.
Mosley. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mark Mosley.
Oh my
wow.
god!
Strike year.
Oh,
That was
is
a
that,
scab
okay.
year.
Is that
Yeah.
all
that's right. That was right. That was the
That's
the
wild.
strike year.
All right, defensive. I have rookie of the year, but it's not. It's
Player of the year.
defensive player of the year. Defensive player of the year, Jason.
I really like T.J. Watt. I mean, I know he's somewhat chalk, but 850. I mean, I think he's going to win. But Sauce Gardner, 16-1, and the reason I say it is because it's New York, and they have a big year. And look at who won the defensive and offensive rookies of the year last year.
Yeah, the Jets on both
two
sides.
Jets.
Meeker, defense player.
I'm going to go with another Jet, and that's Quinnen Williams at 30-1. I know he's a defensive tackle, so he probably won't get tons of sacks, but he's one of the best defensive tackles in the league. And another pick, a little bit more chalky, Max Crosby. He's 20-1. He certainly gets to the quarterback enough to rack up the sacks, and they love sacks when they pick this award. So
And Chalky.
DeMar Hamlin. God, no. Myles Garrett.
All right, and
Isn't
mine.
he is the chalk, is he not? Or
Parsons is
Second.
the favorite, but he's the second choice.
And here I got my guy who I love this bet. I got Hutchinson at 25-1. I think he's gonna have a monster year for Detroit. It's 25-1 on Hutchinson. And then let's finish off the awards and then wrap up quickly with some props or over unders. Coach of the year, Chalky.
I got no clue.
That's a good place to start.
During rookie coaches we got in the playoffs, I don't think so. Let's go with what's his name? Where's Eagles coach on here? I don't even see him. Sirianni, 35-1. Let's do it.
All right, some invigorating analysis there. Meeker.
I'm going to go Harbaugh. I don't know. I didn't look up the odds, but let me go Harbaugh. Since I'm picking Baltimore to go to the Super Bowl, I have to pick him as coach of the year. So we'll go Harbaugh.
Jason, coach of the year.
30-1 on
Oh.
Harbaugh.
There you go.
One guy, Doug Peterson.
Dougie.
21.
I like that.
And I got Robert Saleh as coach of the year for the Jets.
He's a guy that could win Coach of the Year or he could get fired.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
That's another
yeah.
reason, like New York, and all that you just mentioned earlier. If they
They
go far in the playoffs.
Dayball won Coach of the Year. I mean, so, it's New
Probably
York.
deserved
mean,
it. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm looking at the top
There's
six.
other guys too.
The top six betting choices. 5 of the 6, if they were to could end up getting fired.
Yeah, because
Peyton's
traditionally,
the only one I would say was safe next year, but
because
any of the other ones,
traditionally they rank them based on teams that had low
Yeah.
wins the year prior. So
I mean,
they
look,
just see a big
Shanahan and
increase.
Sirianni are all the way down there, but
They see a big increase in wins, and that's who gets these awards. I mean, Matt Nagy, took the Bears to a 11-win season or whatever and got. All right, so quickly, if you have props or over under, I'm going to just throw out a couple quick ones, and I'll move to Jason. Well, I'll finish with Jason because I know he always has a big list. So I'm going to go Buffalo to miss the playoffs plus 225, which I mentioned. Pittsburgh over 8.5. Buffalo under 10.5. Jets over 9.5. Giants under 7.5. Rams over 6.5. They're my kind of ones I'm throwing out there. Meeker, you have anything for us?
Yeah, I like betting these division exactas. So we went through the divisions and everything. And if I'm not gonna, I guess I'll just have to recant this. So Jets, Buffalo, Miami, New England in that order is plus 600. Baltimore, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Cleveland in that order is 1,200. Jacksonville, Houston, Tennessee, Indianapolis is plus 900. Minnesota, Detroit, Chicago, Green Bay is plus 900. And let's see. I have an Eagles special. I guess it's some sort of prop that I happened to catch on DraftKings. They scored 2 or more touchdowns in every game is a plus 900. Kind of like that bet. And let's see. You went through the over under and wins. I kind of wrote down everything, but I think if you play around with it, like if you move the wins up, you get better value.
Adjusted lines, yeah.
Yeah, and Jacksonville over 11.5 is a plus 650, and the Jets over 10.5 is a plus 600, and Pittsburgh over 9.5 is a plus 600. I like those three bets. And only other thing is most rush yards for the NFC South, even though he's going to miss 3 games, and I do think Bijan is obviously going to probably lead the South, but why not throw in a bet for Alvin Kamara at plus 1,800 on that? And that's about all I have for prop bets.
All right. Chalky, do you have anything for us?
Yeah, so for win totals, Chicago over 8.5, that's plus 140. Detroit under 9.5, that's plus 100. And then using the slider, bump Miami up to scroll down over 10.5 wins, that is plus 170.
All right, Jason, take us home. End this NFL preview show for us.
Yeah, I really didn't do a lot. Meeker put me on one yesterday where I picked all my division winners as a parlay, and I got plus.
I did that too. I didn't mention that.
750 to 1.
Yeah, I know.
It's all my division winners.
It's usually insane.
So, but I didn't do any of those other ones you guys were mentioning.
All right.
Yeah, 69,000 I think was my on every division winner we just mentioned. If that happens, 69 grand.
Yeah, I would have to apply mine.
Might as well be 690 grand.
You're not getting enough value.
The best part's going to be when he hits 7 out of 8 and Baltimore is the one that doesn't get it.
Yeah.
You can hedge that at some point, right? If it comes down to the last couple games of the season.
It looks like they're going.
If it gets that close, but
yeah.
All right, well, that concludes episode 70 of Broad Street Hustle, your NFL preview show. Every week, we're going to do just a quick run. We do our 3 bets, our 3 teams each week. We give a best
3 bets, best bet.
We give a best bet, which is always fun. Jason has the stats from last year, which we'll talk about next week as we lead into the first NFL week 1 of the NFL season. Remember, this was Broad Street Hustle. It's not just a podcast. It's your playbook for success into the world of sports betting.
Where's those balloons at? We're just wondering. They go up your...
Have a great night.
Go Cougars.